Hi everyone, my name is Sam Greenberg, and today I'll be showing you a couple different cool features on Excel. These will include creating different formats, creating title pages, your main document, and appendices. I'll also show you how to label tables and figures, and then using that, we'll create a table of contents and a list of all the tables and figures in your document. And then finally, I'll show you how to do references. So to start out, make sure you have Word open, and we're going to start out and we're going to create formats for your normal text, for section headers, and if you so choose, we'll have some subsections as well, as those can be useful. Figure captions, we'll call them table labels. And then a couple other side ones that are going to be helpful for later on is a references format. We'll just call it references, and then also a header and a footer label, so we'll call it header footer. And so to start out, this is one of the most underutilized but useful features in Excel is right here in the styles. So if we go to the home tab and go over to styles, you can see that there's a couple different that are built in, and they all affect how the text is put out. So you see normal is what it automatically defaults to, but there's also ones as no space. We'll highlight the whole thing. So you see no space. Nope, not going. Never mind with that one. But you see if you go over to heading, you'll get a heading 1, different heading, heading 3. And if you so choose, you can just kind of work with these. What I prefer to do is just make a new style altogether because I find it easier to reference. And we're going to start with the normal, and it really varies class by class, what your professors are looking for, or an employer, or even just you personally. But a pretty good one to start out with is Times New Roman, is almost always going to be used. And size 12 is pretty standard. I've had to turn in reports before where it's been size 11, which is I found a little strange, but some people like it more. Additionally, left align versus justified is really a personal preference. I've had classes that I wanted one way, classes I wanted the other. I always like to go justified. I think it looks nicer. I think you'll get used to it. And then you're also going to want to go single spaced. Some reports are double spaced, but that's really if you're going to be printing it out so you can make comments in between the lines. So for most things you're going to be turning in, it'll be single spaced. And then also, I think it's a good idea to add a space after the paragraph, because what you're going to be doing for the most part is when you make a new paragraph, you're just going to go enter down once and you have a nice space in there. I think it looks a little cleaner than having no space afterwards. So that would look, something like this. And then you have to do 2 new paragraphs. So again, I think it's nicer to add a space after the paragraph. And then what you're going to do is you're going to highlight the selected text that has the format you want. So again, we want Times New Roman, size 12, justified, double space, and you're going to right click on it, and you're going to say update normal to match selection. And then you can see the rest of them, which were already normal, auto update it. So this has the advantage that you can just click on normal from now on, and you'll have a nice formatted text that you want. Additionally, if you're doing document cleanup, you can hit normal, and you want to change the style, you can update it right from here. So let's say you're doing your report out, you do it justified the entire time, and then you read the assignment description, it says left align. So now instead of having to highlight the whole text and go through paragraph by paragraph, you can just update your master selection right here. And we were just talking about, doing different paragraph markers, and you can't really see it in this text. So a really useful thing to turn on is this little, I don't even know what it is, like a symbol right here. And this shows you all the formatting. And this gets really useful when you're trying to do longer documents, you want a more polished product. The things that it shows here is where a new paragraph starts, and then also the different spacing. So this can really help you space out your figures properly, your tables properly, if you don't have any extra spaces. It really just becomes normal. I know it looks a little weird at first, but you do get used to it really fast, and it does help you clean up stuff. I'm going to turn it off for this video, but I do highly recommend keeping that on. So now we have our normal text set. We're going to go to the section header, and this is one of the, when we do a header, what we're going to do is we're going to change it to heading 1 initially, because the headers have certain properties that the normal ones don't. And I don't know how to turn it on without starting from this template. So make sure to change the heading one, and we'll get to what those properties are a little later in the video. So we're going to go to header one, and what I want is I want a like a new section header. We're doing like an introduction or materials and methods section or results section. I want that clearly defined. And again, this is highly up to what the assignment is, what the evaluator wants, and also really what you want. So what I like doing is, well, first we're going to highlight the whole thing. And we don't want Calibri, we want Times New Roman. We want size 12. And we want our text to be black. And what I like to do is I like to have the entire thing bolded and underlined. And then the other thing that I like is having it all caps. I think that really makes it pop out some and stand out. So then what you can do, you can go to the font section under the Home tab. And if you click on this little drop down thing right here, you can see that there's all the different font options. So you can go over to the font, see Times New Roman, we want to bold it, size 12, and then I also want it all caps. And so you can select that window right there, hit OK, and it goes all caps. And the advantage to doing in all caps formatting versus just hitting caps lock on your keyboard is if you were to copy and paste this, it's automatically section headers. And honestly, that doesn't really matter, but it is going to matter in our table of contents, which I'll talk about shortly. So make sure you really go to the font, do all caps, don't just type it out all caps. It will make a difference later on. And so now that we have that set, and just again, in general, I don't really see, outside of a title page, anything higher than size 12 font. So that's why I don't personally like it. And then a lot of documents would be black and white only. It really, again, depends on the assignment what people are looking for. So that's why I like keeping it, black instead of doing, like a red section I've seen before, or, any other color, like a gray. You see the default is blue. So again, I like keeping things in black. And so we'll highlight this and go update heading one to match selection. And so that changes that. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to make a new section, a new style. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that selected, go over to the styles dropdown, hit that option. No, sorry, this is not right. You're going to go over to this dropdown, and go create a style. So now that we have the style selected, hit create a style, you're just going to name it. So I want it to be called section header. And then there it is. There's the preview, looks good. We're going to hit OK. And then there it is. So let's say I wanted to start a new section. You could just drop down here. Actually, I'm going to show something here that you can do before I show what I was about to. So we can highlight this here. Get it highlighted. You can right click and then try to find where it is. You're going to modify, there it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight, but you don't even have to highlight. You can go to modify. So go to the styles window, you have this, modify the section header, drop down to modify, and then you can see, go to, you have their name here, the style is based on, so heading one is what we base it off of. And then the style for the following paragraph is it goes automatically to the section header, but we can change that to be any style we want. And in this case, it's gonna be most helpful to have normal. So if you hit normal here, what this means is that if we do a new section down here, so we'll delete this here. Let's say we're doing a header, for example, like our introduction. And then you want to start talking about why, I don't know, why dogs are a great pet. It automatically defaults to the normal. So that can just save a little time. It really just helps clean up the document construction. So now that we have our section header, we can do something similar to the subsections. So we're going to change this, and you don't even have to highlight it all. So you just go to the end of the line, hit section header, it automatically changes the previous line. So now we have our section header style here, but we don't want it to be a section header. What we want is it to be, I prefer, from what I've seen, is you just kind of do an italicized, and we have it all caps. So that's kind of what we want the subsections to look like. Helps break up the document a little bit, especially if you're, so you're doing like a materials and methods section. You can break it to materials, break it into methods, or you can do research methods and then experimental methods, whatever you're really trying to do. So I know we just walked through and did that real fast in the font window, but I just want to bring it back to our section header, and we'll actually do this. So we're going to create a new style. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, we'll create a new style. We're going to call it subsections. Okay. And then we're going to go over subsections and we're going to go to modify. And so you can do everything that we did over here in this font. You can do it pretty quickly here. So we still have Times New Roman, we still want it size 12. Actually, we want this left align. Well, we'll keep it justified. You could make it left align here if you wanted to. We don't want it bold, we don't want it underlined, but we do want it italicized. And the last thing that we want is we had all caps selected. So we can go over to the format, back over to the font, and then you see the changes we made right there. You could easily just as done it here. And we want the all caps off. We hit OK, and we hit OK. And there it is, subsections. So perfect. So there's that style created. Next, we're going to go over to figure captions. Again, this of course depends on what your evaluator wants. The most common one I've seen is to do a style like this. So we're going to do a highlight it to edit it, and then we're going to do a center aligned. And then we're also going to italicize it. And again, this really depends on what you're doing. Some people like to do like a figure captions and then we'll have a cool dog here, or you can do figure captions with, a full colon. Some people do figure, you do a period. So again, this would be like figure one, a dog, or figure one. It really depends. Find something that works for you. The biggest thing is just stay consistent throughout the document. So anyways, we went back, we want to be editing figure captions. And so we have our style all set. This one is going to be, sorry, I missed a step here. Make sure to base it on the section header. Because again, this is going to be something that'll come in handy in a little bit, but we want this to be able to be based on the heading section. So we'll just real quick undo those. It doesn't take very long to make different ones. Just make sure to turn the all caps off. And boom, we have our figure captions there. So just italicized, center aligned. And now that we have that set, we're going to highlight it and we're going to do create a new style, and we're going to call it figure caption. Is that either? Hit OK. So there's our figure captions. We're going to go to table labels, do a similar one. Again, we can base off of any of the section headers that we have, or section header styles that we have. So we'll just make a figure caption again. And for a table label, I'll show you tables in a second, and it'll make more sense. What we're going to do is we're going to keep it center aligned, and we're just not going to have it italicized. And that looks good. So we're going to go back over to the styles, hit this more button here, create a new style, and we'll call it table labels. And then one thing I want to do, it's not going to matter for the table labels. You'll see that in a second. But for the figure captions, we're actually going to go back up here and we're going to modify it. And we're going to do that same thing of changing the text afterwards. So the following paragraph will just be a normal style. And that'll come in handy as you're writing. So again, to do that, you just right click on what you're doing, hit the modify, and then go to style for following paragraphs. So now we have those taken care of. We're finally going to do a references one. And just a quick note on references, and we'll dive into more of this later. What the style of your references is really going to depend on what you're writing. I've done a lot of documents that are based off of the American Chemical Society system of referencing. And what you're going to do there, so let's say I was, referencing the American Chemical Society. And that was my first source. So then what I would do is I would have a superscript 1 up here, and then superscript 1. And that'd be my first reference. And let's say, I'm referencing the American Chemical Society here. I would just do a superscript 1. I know like MLA Chicago style, they're, a lot more on the author. So let's say, I was writing something and you might give them the year I wrote it, or you might give the page numbers you're referencing from it. It really depends on the style. For a lot of technical documents, that's not going to be the style you're doing it in. It's going to be in this superscript form, which is why I'm just going to make a quick references one. You're going to want it based on the normal. Again, this one's really not good. This one's going to be a very different ball game, which we'll get to in a second. So we're just going to keep it normal. And so we have the superscript all set, and we're just going to do create a new style again, and we're going to call it references. It's really only going to save you a superscripting thing, but I like to have it. It keeps, I think, as little custom font out of there as keeping as little custom font out of your document as possible can help you quickly edit it and make sure your format is correct without having to nitpick it continuously. And then finally, we're going to do a header footer one. This is going to go on the bottom of our document. So again, we're going to keep it normal. And really, you're just going to keep it right aligned. And this will also work for our page numbers. And so then we're going to go once again. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Header footer. And we're all set. And I'm also just going to save this document real fast in case we have any issues later on. But we're all set to go throughout the rest of the document. And so now that we talked about creating formats, we're going to put these to work. And we're going to create, we're going to hold on that for a second. I want us to first, before we make the document itself, we're going to continue laying the groundwork. And so a general document is going to have about 4 different sections to it. You're going to have a title page. You're going to have your kind of introduction area. So this is going to include things like a table of contents. So table of contents, you can have a list of figures and tables, things like that. If you're going to have an abstract, your abstract will go in this section, maybe an acknowledgement section, things like that. Then you're going to have your main body. So that's going to be where you'll have, what you're actually talking about. And then you're also going to have your appendices. And again, not all assignments will have these, but for your lab reports, research papers, this is going to be the style you're going to follow. And then another thing that I've actually seen and had to do is you might have like a keyword section or defining variables. That can also go in this area, and I have never used it, but I'll just show you, where you could try something out. And so we're going to start with the title page because that's the easiest to insert. And so you insert, well, you're going to go over to your insert tab. And if you go to the left, there's going to be a pages. And if you left click on that, there's a cover page option. You can hit the drop down menu. And there's a lot of different formats here that are built in. I would really just encourage you to find something that works for you. I always like the filigree one. You're more than welcome to use that one. You can use a bandit, fast, that looks pretty nice. But let's say we're just going to go with this built-in one here. There's our title. So, what you're talking about. So, how to use Word, like Sam Greenberg. You put today's date in, Word will automatically fill it in. So today is what, April 15th, 2020. I don't know, we're going for the Sam Greenberg Company. And we're on Earth. What I like to do here for my assignments is, let's say I was taking, a English 101 class, and my professor was, you know, Dr. Greenberg. So you put professor's name, the class down here. That's a nice way to do it. And you can even put your section number. So I don't know, 7575 or 755. That's not, there you go. You get the picture. Whatever you want to do here. So call it Word 101. So we have a header page in there. What you're going to do is you're going to go down, and I'm going to teach you about a couple different ways you can break a page, and we'll actually do that down here. And so for this, again, we're going to turn on the tracking button here. Really helpful. You can see all the different paragraphs. And so let's say we're going to start a new page. What we see a lot of people do is just kind of keep tabbing down until you get a new page. That's very sloppy, and the moment you put more text in, it's going to throw everything off. And you can do it theoretically if you do it right at the end, but sometimes converting to a PDF, it'll throw off, or there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So a much cleaner way to do it is to hold down the control button and the enter key, and you get a nice page break. So again, that's, control plus enter for a page break. And then right here, we have a new section. So even if I put in, another control in here, or if I say page breaks are really helpful, it doesn't throw this off here. So it just breaks the page right here. Now, if you were to, put the page break, you were to keep talking and talking and talking, so the page breaks here, it'll just move it to another page. So page breaks very helpful. And then a second thing you can do, you can delete that. So you just go delete the page break. Is you can do a different kind of page break that you have to go over to the layout tab, and you go to breaks. So again, that's layout, page setup, breaks. And you can see there's the page one that we just did. But another one you can do is go to section breaks. And at first glance, you're going to see it serves the same property as the page break. See, it just started a new line. We can put in more things and it doesn't move. But it has properties that you can then treat this page separately than the following page, and the ones after this and the ones before that. So you can do different formatting. Specifically, it's helpful for headers and footers and page numbering. And so on that note, we're going to delete these here. And we're going to call this our table of contents page. So this is going to be our intro page, so our TOC. And we want that as a section header. And then here's where we would have the introduction to the rest of our text. And then we'll put some room here for a text, and let's see how that automatically went to our normal, nice and easy. We're going to go here, and we're going to go insert another section. So we're going to go back to insert. Layout, excuse me. We're going to go back to layout, page setup, breaks, and then next page for the section breaks. And this would be where our appendices are in. So we'll call this appendix A. And we want that to be a section header. And so, again, this varies a lot by personal opinion, papers you're writing. But a good format to follow, I think, as a baseline is your title page should just be a title page. You shouldn't have a header on it. You shouldn't have a footer. You shouldn't have a page number. Your title page is your title page. Your table of contents, I think it's nice to have a header in there, and then I like to number it in a lowercase Roman style. Then your body of text is almost always going to be an Arabic style. I've never seen one without it. And then I think your back appendix, it's nice to do in uppercase Roman numerals, and that's also pretty standard. You could try using letters in the intro, or letters in like your table of contents area. You could use letters in your appendice, or you could keep it all continuous numbering. I think this really, looks better. I think it looks more official. It makes it look more professional. And I think it's an easier organization, especially if you're submitting something or say your limit's 20 pages, but you have 10 pages of appendices and you have like 2 pages of table of contents and figures. It really just helps clarify that. And so what you do to insert we'll start with the page number. To insert the page number, when I click on the page, go to insert, and then there's a header and footer section over here on the right. So you have 3 options we'll be working with. And then you can go page number. And then you can just hit, bottom of the page, format the page number. I think is the best option. You can see most customization. And so you hit format page number, you can see the different formats. So you hit the drop-down menu, there's numbers, there's different style numberings, you got letters, you got Roman numerals. So again, for the intro, I'm going to choose lowercase. I don't know what include chapter number is. I've never had to do it. Maybe you will never have to worry about it either. And then right here are 2 big options. So you can hit continue from previous section, or you can do start at. So anybody who's tried to have, no page number on a page or start a page number that's on the 3rd page of the document, I'm sure you've had problems with it, and you can go try that out yourself. And so this problem really gets around it is because you can start wherever a section break is at a fresh page. Or let's say you didn't want to start at, page 1, you want to start at 5 for whatever reason. This is a great way to do it. So again, for our purposes, and I've never done it any other way, we'll just start at 1, and we're going to hit insert. You can see here's our table of contents. Where did it go? Should be down here. Well, that's weird. We'll try that one more time. We're going to go to header and footer. So now we have that option here. We're going to go to page number, format page number, start at 1, and boom. Let's investigate. Maybe there's something weird with the formatting here. Let's make sure we're going to go over, we made a format for the header and footer. And here it is. Nice right align. Header, footer, page number, bottom of the page. We'll try that style maybe. Maybe it'll like it more. There it is. It was a weird error. We'll go back to format page number. Everything still looks good. So we're all set. So there it is. I don't know what that error was. Maybe you never have it. So you look here, we have our nice page number on the bottom. And then the nice thing also is you can see here in the section break, there's no page number here yet. So if that section break wasn't to be there, for example, and I was inserted page number is not showing it here, but it would have continued through. And I think we've all used Word enough to see that it would have continued through. So we'll put that section break back in there, and then we can go to this new section where it would be normally our main body of text. Let's try double clicking down here, and we'll insert another page number to the bottom of the page. And there's a couple different options. You see same as previous. If you were to click that, I'm getting errors today. Don't worry about that. What we'll just do is we'll highlight it once again, and we'll go to format page numbers, and we'll have, see it starts at 0. We're going to have it start at 1. And there it is, all set. If you so choose, you can also choose the continue from previous section function. And what that's going to do is it's just going to copy the numbering from the previous one. So there's page 1, there's page 2. We don't like that though, because we want this to be the start of the main body of text. And so then there's our main body of text with 1s, and we'll do the same thing for the appendix. Oh, see, I went to, looks like it inserted down there. Must have had a weird connection there. And we're just going to highlight it. And I don't think you have to highlight it. So we'll just go to page number again, format page numbers. And we want this to be, we want this to be our uppercase Roman numerals. And we're going to start at I. And so then there you go. So now we have our title page without a page number. We have our table of contents area with lowercase. We have our main body of text with an Arabic numeral, and we have our appendices with a Roman numeral. Again, this is something that I think looks really nice, and most seniors never know this. So if you can really get this down early, you're going to have a big advantage. And just trying to make your documents look nice. You really just don't want to cause any added stress to who's ever evaluating your things. Your evaluation will turn out better if they're in a better mood, trust me. And this also makes their job easier because they can easily move around your document. Now that everything's clearly marked, clearly numbered, and we're going to put that numbering to work here as we're going to work on figures and tables. So let's say we're talking here in our introduction. Let's say we have an essay on dogs. We're going to talk about dogs. And let's say, in case you don't know what a dog looks like, we won't get that out. Let's say there's a picture of a dog in figure 1. So we're going to insert a picture of a dog here. I have a dog all set to go here. So there's a picture of my dog sleeping. Comes in pretty big. We're going to make it smaller just so we can see it easier. General picture in figure format. So even if this is a graph, you almost always want it centered. And then we're going to go here and we're going to call it figure 1 dog. And we have that nice figure reference all menu. So there's our figure caption there. And then you can see as we go back down, we can just keep talking because we made that normal selection earlier. So again, that's where it really comes in handy. But let's say before we were talking about dogs, we wanted to talk about, I don't know, sunsets because I have pictures of sunsets. So there's a picture of a sunset. In figure 1 because now it's coming first. And we're going to put in a picture of a sunset. So there's a nice picture of a sunset. And now that's figure 1. Sunset. It's a nice issue we have here where we now have to rename this figure 1 as dog. So now we have to go in and say, okay, it's figure 2. This is now figure 2. And, you know, that's enough of a pain with just two figures here. But if you say you have to do this where, you know, you have over 20 figures in a document, you put one in there and then you might have to end up renumbering 10 other ones. And every time you reference them in text, which is a big pain. So there's a way to use Word to get around this. Check that caption. And so what we're going to do is we're going to delete these. I'm going to leave a space for it. And this is also something that, you know, I've never met another senior who's used this. It's something that you can really, you know, really stand out with. And it just makes your life a lot easier. You know, realistically, if you only have 5 or 6 figures, you know, it's not going to make your life that much easier. But if you're doing like a group project or a big report where you're going to be having, you know, I've had, you know, 30 figures before, this is where it could really be a big time saver. And so the tab we're going to use here is called References. As we're going to go to References, and if you look down, let's just take a quick tour. There's a table of contents section, which we'll use later. There's footnotes and endnotes, which aren't really in a style that I've had to use or I've seen used in at least an engineering setting. So I'm not really going to worry about that. Researcher, it's something that, again, a little more technical work is what you're going to be doing, then makes that useful. Citations and bibliographies, that's an interesting discussion. I'm going to table that for later. And then right here, you see captions and table of figures, cross-referencing, and then indexing here, and a table of authorities, which is not something, it's, you know, a lot more regulatory documents, which I don't think you have to worry about. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize this insert caption button here. And so we're going to hit the insert caption. Again, this is over the references tab. And you're going to notice that, I was messing around with this a little earlier. You're going to notice there's a couple different label options in here. You got equations, figures, and I think you'll also have table built in. I have the ref in there, and we'll talk about that later. But let's say you're going to do a new label. So you have something that you didn't like, because you can just use figure. Let's say you wanted to call like a picture specifically, so you could do new label and title it picture. and then hit OK. And then right there, you can see pictures in there as well. However, we're going to do figures. And so you can see there's figure 1. You can also hit exclude label from the caption. It'll be a 1. You're going to want that figure in there though. And if I was to use picture, then there's picture 1. So it really is, if you have something specifically you're trying to label, you can use that to, you can use this new label to achieve that. We're going to do figure, and then again, you can do a space and a hyphen, or you can do a full colon, or you can do a period. It's really just stay consistent. My personal preference is to use the colon. So we're going to do figure 1, and this was our picture of a sunset, and it automatically adds the 1. And so we're going to hit OK, and there's our label. We don't like that format. It looks really weird. It looks bad, quite frankly. And so we're going to go over to figure caption. We're going to hit that, and boom, there it is, nice and ready. We're going to do the same thing down here. So again, if you go over references, insert caption. There you go, automatic figure 2, and this one was a dog. So then there you go. And we're going to go back to the back to the figure caption, and there's our nice figure. And if we're talking about it, so now we have these right here. We want to talk about the sunset here. So we're going to go where we want to do this referencing. We go back over to references, and then you hit the cross-reference tab right here. And then the reference type you're going to be making is to a figure, and then there's a list of all your figures here. And so we're referencing the sunset in this one. You have it insert as a hyperlink. This means that if you were to click on it, it would take you to the figure. That's not useful. You're turning in most of your work as a PDF, so hyperlink doesn't do anything. We want to reference it just plain and simple. And you have a couple different options. You can reference the entire caption itself, so that'd be figure 1 sunset, or the label and number, which would just be figure 1. You can also reference the caption text or the page it appears on. I haven't really used the above or below, but the most useful one for the technical writing that we're doing will be the label and the number. And you hit insert, and then there's figure 1 right there. We can do the same thing. So you're going to reference the figure. I know we went to references and then cross-reference in the caption section. You can also go over to insert links and cross-reference there. It's really whatever you choose. I like to stay in the reference tab. And we're referencing the dog one here. And then boom, there's figure 2, a dog. And the cool thing about this is, let's say we wanted to add another picture of a dog up here. Actually, dogs first. And we want to put in another dog picture. So better dog, and then we're going to leave a space for the figure reference. Going to go back to insert the picture. And let's see. Oh, here's a sleeping dog one. It's a little cuter. Want it centered. I'm actually going to make it a little smaller just so we take up less document room. Do that with all of these. And we want that beforehand, and we're going to add our caption. So again, to add a caption, you go to references, insert caption, figure, and we're going to call this sleeping. We'll call it doggo. Why not? There's our label. Let's make it look pretty. And then we'll reference it up here. So again, we go back to references, cross-reference, the doggo picture. Boom, there's our reference. But wait, you say, look, there's one figure 1 here. There's another figure 1 here that we reference. The rest of the figures, if you notice, automatically renumbered, but the references in text didn't. Don't panic. Just hit Control A. So that highlights everything in the document. So again, that's Control plus A to highlight everything. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit F9. And so the F9 did is, you see, it renumbered everything automatically. So that updates your fields. We're not going to get into that, but fields is what Word uses to make these. So you're going to get an instant replay. Oh, we can't get an instant replay on it. Yeah, because we can't get an instant replay on it. So you can see there's it before we updated everything. There's it afterwards. See this figure 1 range with figure 2. So boom. So that's Control A plus an F9. And so there we have labeling our figures. Labeling captions works pretty similarly. So, or sorry, not captions, tables. So let's say we're going to insert a table. We're going to take a quick detour on making tables because that's another thing that a lot of people can benefit from early on. So your general table format is you're going to have a table title at the top. So let's call it, we're going to add in, I don't like this table, we're going to make it 4. So we can compare two things. Let me go 3 by 4, there we go. So you can have your table title up at the top. Then you're going to have followed by your, and delete this. There we go, like this more, sorry about that. You're gonna have your table title at the top. Then you're gonna have the labels. So we're gonna say, we're gonna have a parameter here, and then we're gonna base it on how pretty it is. Or we'll say how cute it is. And we're gonna compare dogs and sunsets again. And let's say dogs are 10 out of 10, they're cute, can't get any better. Sunsets are pretty, but not that cute. We'll give them an 8. I still like sunsets a lot. And so what you can do, well, first I'm going to stretch this across. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this table title. And so what you can do is you can merge these cells so it goes across the entire top. So there's our table title on the top. This makes sense in a second. Just follow me here. And then we have our parameter here. So one value here, cuteness here. And what we're going to do is we're going to format this. So again, this is really personal preference on the table title. Some people like it left aligned, some people like it centered. You can justify it. We're going to leave it centered. And to do that, we're going to go over here to the align center. And then for the rest of the table, we're going to want it middle aligned. And actually for the table title, we're going to want a bottom middle, excuse me. And so there you can see our table. This looks a little bad though. And so one way you can clean it up, and this is pretty standard, is you're going to highlight the entire thing, go over to table design, go to borders, and then hit no borders. So this looks bad, but hang in there because it's about to get better. And then what you're going to do is you're going to draw in lines. And again, the weight of the lines really depends on what you want. Here's what I do. So we go 1 under the title. So there's 1 line across. And we're going to go 1 between the parameters and the values. And then we're also going to go 1 at the end of the table. And then there's our table. So that looks a lot more cleaner. It's a little weird space up here. I think we have a space after that. Yeah, we do have a space after that. So we'll get to that in a second. That's why it looks a little weird here and then a little weird here. So we're going to remove that space down here and that space over here. So something you can play around with. You can make a new heading if you want to for your last value in a table. Maybe you so choose. So that looks a lot cleaner, and we'll do that here as well. Just you can see what a finished product looks like, and then we'll do that here as well. So you can make an entirely new table heading if you wanted to. It's actually not a bad idea. We're going to do that right now. Create a new style, table values. And we're going to select the whole table and go to table values. That's going to throw, there we go. That looks so much better. A lot more compact. And another thing people might do is you might leave, this top line up here between the table title and the parameters a little not as thick as this one. So have this middle line here be the thickest, and these two other ones be a little thinner. Really, it's personal choice. I'm not going to walk through this again because we did it with the figures. But again, if you just do table 1 comparing cuteness, and then you're at another table above, you have to renumber everything. So we're actually going to reference this table down. table and highlight it. Maybe that's misspelled. Yeah, that's misspelled. So we can do a similar thing we did with the figures. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this table title here. It's out, it's old with the new. Insert references. Sorry, no insert, just the references. Insert caption. And this time, instead of label, we're going to do a table. So, or instead of a figure, we're going to do a table. As you see right there, even though we have 3 figures already, it starts fresh at table 1. And we're going to call this, I don't know, comparing. Boom. There's our figure. It looks ugly. Actually, we're gonna get an instant replay of that one because there's a little more going on here than there was with the figures. Because we're in a table right here. You insert the caption. It's going to go above the selected item. Don't fret. We're just going to cut that. So just highlight the whole thing and cut it. And then put it into the table. And because we already have that format here, it's all set. But remember, we want a title. So we're going to go over, even though we have a couple different table values now here between the, where to go, the table label and the table value, we want this selected as a table label. And actually, we can update that to remove that space afterwards. Because if you remember when we made this, we made it based off of the heading one. And so now we have that value in there, we can replace that with this cross-reference. The reference is cross-reference, change the reference types from the figure to the table. There's our table. We just want the label and the number, and all set. And if you were to put another table above, this would renumber this reference here. So let me highlight that. Your label would update itself. Your reference to it wouldn't. So again, you just hit Control-A and F9. And we're going to save. So that's how you properly format your tables and your figures and how you can reference them in the text. Now that we have some sections in here, so we have the introduction section, we have an appendix section, and we have some tables and our figures. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fill out our table of contents. And so I'm actually going to unselect this. We're going to change it to normal. And we're actually just going to get rid of it entirely. Point is, I don't want a heading in there because what we're about to do is create a table of contents. So similarly, go over to references, go to table of contents, and there's a lot of built-in options in here. You can also go to custom, and that's what we're going to do. And there's a lot of different options here. Again, the default is for hyperlinks. That's not really useful when you're printing out a PDF, so we're going to unselect that. And then the couple of different boxes right here, show page numbers, right, align the page numbers. Again, you really want to keep these here. You got a couple different options. If you want a line, if you want some hyphens, I think the dots look good. That's what I like using. And then you got show levels. Don't really touch the formats. It's kind of getting really technical here, but what we are going to do is we're going to go over to options. And you're going to see 2 different things here. So there's the styles and the TOC level. So in case you were wondering why I was being so picky about the styles, this is why. You can see there's a bunch of different things here and TOC levels. And you see some of them are selected. You see all different styles we've created. And so what we're going to do is I want to clear all these out. What the TOC level means is that if you look over here, you can see these are all left aligned because these are all level 1. But if you were to have something that was like a level 2, instead of the heading beginning here, it would begin indented. And then you could have a level 3 that's even further indented. So that's also why we have our heading and our section headers and our subsections. So again, I'm just going to continue clearing these out. So that's what you see right here, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So you see heading 1's all the way on the left. Let's see if we got a heading. Let me see if I can get it. I can't. Just take my word for it. It would be, it's further into the down in the table of contents. And then let's see, there's our section header and our subsection. We're just going to completely clear it. And again, you can see those are all 1 because they're all based on the section header, which is a 1. And now what we can do is we want this table of contents to be our section headers because there are different sections. And then we also want the subsections in there for a little more reference. So we're going to select section header to be 1. So that's going to be our level 1 and our subsections to be level 2. So again, just clear it all out. And then the lower the number, the further left aligned it'll be. We hit OK, you can see right there. So there's section header and subsections. There's a nice preview. And if you want to change it, so you can go to modify. And then you can go to modify again, and you can mess with the text in here. Again, I think this all looks good. So we're going to go OK, OK, and OK. And there's our table of contents. And you can go in and create a nice header in here. I said nothing above size 12, so here's what table of contents looks like. It's hard to tell it apart. So I like to go to a size 16, and we're going to bold. We're going to bold this. There we go. Oh, let's update the entire thing. That's all I want to do. Make sure just this is getting changed. Challenge. Well, I have an idea. So we're going to put a space in. Make sure this is all size 12. That is interesting. There we go. So let's add an S on the end. There it goes. So you can mess around with it. It's a little funky to mess with. You see, I just played around with this. You can do something similar. You got a nice table of contents, and then we're also going to add in a table of figures and a table. Well, I guess a table of tables and figures. So we're going to make a new page, so just a page break. And then this is where you have 2 options where you can do back over the references, and we saw earlier there's an insert table of figures. So you can click on that, and then here you can see the caption label is. So here's, we could do our different figures and insert that. So this one, is really straightforward. You can get rid of the hyperlinks. There's not much to play around here. So again, just go to the caption label, and anything that was labeled as a figure will come in here. And there's our different figures. So this could be good if you're just looking to mess with, you want a separate list of figures and a separate list of tables. I played around with it for a while. I couldn't find a way for it to get multiple things in there. So I specifically want figures and tables to be in the same thing. So if you want them separate, just do that. It's pretty straightforward. But if you want them both, we're going to have to insert another table of contents. And this, again, is why, to hit the custom. So this is, again, why we base everything out the section headers so they appear in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the options. Well, actually, I'm going to deselect the hyperlinks. Make sure everything is turned off. The default is to have all these on. And now we just want our tables. So we're going to go table labels. So that is a 1. We also want our figures. So we're going to go up to the Fs, figure caption, and we're also going to set that to 1. So you see right there, figure caption, our table labels. Again, if you want to modify the text, go in there. I think everything looks good. We hit OK. And then this is where it's going to ask you to replace this table of contents. I haven't found a way around this. So what you're going to want to hit is no, because if you do that, it's just going to insert your table of contents here. But we want a table of contents and we want a list of figures. So hit no. And then right here, you can see our list of figures and tables and the order they appear. So this isn't just figures and then tables. If table 1, let's say, had been between figure 2 and figure 3, it would be there. So I'll show that in a second. You can see right here, our table of contents was left untouched. Let's just quickly label this so I don't forget. Maybe we can do the formatting first this time. Fixed it. So let's say we were to copy and paste our figure 3, for this one. And then just on that, when you paste and want to keep the formatting, hit Control, and then you can go over to keep source formatting or just hit K, so everything still looks good. So then you see now table 1 is between figure 2 and figure 3. But if you look in the figures and tables, that doesn't show it. So again, what you can do is you can either right click on this and hit update field, or you can just hit F9 and it should update. So you gotta hit Control A, then F9 to update the fields. And then this is where you get an option to update either the page numbers or the entire table. The only difference is when you update the page numbers only, it's not going to change the order and it's not going to change what's included. It'll only change where each one appears. So I think a more useful option is to have the entire table. So in case you add something new, it'll be included or the order's changed. So update the entire table and you get one for each table of content you have. And then, we lost it. Let's go investigate. Make sure it's still on. See, it got changed to normal when we pasted it. So then all you have to do is, again, I'm just going to change it to a table label. That's also why it's useful to keep the formatting in there. So again, it was a table label. We copy and pasted it, and then it got lost. So just hit Control A and F9, update the entire table. And then there's our table label back in there between figure 2 and figure 3. So now you know how to make styles, how to set up your document, how to number it properly, how to have a figure in there properly, how to reference them, so it auto updates, and include them in a table of contents. You are doing fantastic. The last thing we're going to do is how to number our references. And this is the hardest part. So, let's say I want to make a claim that sunsets happen at the end of the day. But I'm not a credible source, so I have to reference something. So let's actually create a references. And a quick note on references is they're going to come before your appendix. I don't know, I have a weird break here. I don't need that. So even though they're not really contributing any information directly to your document, they're still going to show up, in this main document source. So they're not going to start on like a Roman numeral page. They're going to be your last Arabic page. And so let's say the reference I was referencing here is, let's say, well, list me as a reference. Let's say, Greenberg, and something about sunsets in the Journal of the Sun. Volume 3, 2019. Whatever your format is, I didn't base it off of anything. It's just kind of different things we'll see. But I'm the reference. So this is where you get into a couple different things about formatting. And if you're doing technical documents, you're going to have a different format than a lot of other ones. So if you're doing, let's say, like an English paper or a social sciences paper, really anything outside of the hard sciences, you're probably going to use like an MLA format, or I've used Chicago style before, or APA, and Word handles those very well. So let's say I'm trying to reference that statement. I can go over the reference tabs and I can do an insert citation. And so there's two different things you can do. You can either add a new placeholder, or you can add a new source. So a placeholder just be something so you make a citation later. So let's call it ref1. And so then boom, you see I'm referencing reference one. But another thing you can do is you can insert the citation to a new source. And then it'll bring you, well, let's not do that yet. We're going to change our style first. I was playing around with it earlier, so let's set to that. We can see there's a lot of different formats. So we'll start with the MLA. And so we go back to insert citation, add new source. And, I think I said that was in a journal. So you see, you can add in all the different information and it'll create an automatic format for you. So this is a condensed version. You can hit show all bibliography fields and you can see everything. There's a lot more that pops up. But we'll just go in real fast. So Sam Greenberg said it. And his, I don't know, his thesis on the sun and the Journal of the Sun in the year, we'll change this one to 3,000. It was 999 pages, or sorry, it was referenced on pages 3 through 4, and it was in, I don't know what the medium means, example document. We'll call it a magazine. And boom, there you go, Greenberg said it. You see nothing happened down here. So then what you can do, now that we have that source in there, is go to bibliography, and there's a couple different built-in ones. Again, I most commonly seen references. See right there, pretty much just copy what we did. Greenberg, Sam, thesis on the sun. Boom, all set. So that's, what you can do, and it'll automatically, put them in the right, in the order they appear if you were to do multiple sources and if you were to reference them in the future. So let's say, I don't know, table 1 is highly debatable, but, Greenberg talks about dogs' relations to sunsets in the same paper. You get insert citation, and boom, there it is. And so if you'd have multiple sources, they would appear in the right form, or in the right order down here. That's not really useful for a lot of technical documents, though, because we don't follow this format of citation. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do it and a hard way to do it. The easy way is actually what I used to do before I did this labeling system in here, and it capitalizes on the find and replace key, which is Control H. So Control H brings up find and replace. So that's Control H. I guess we'll call it H. And I used to use this for figures, tables, and the references. And so what you can do is, I know we had figure 1 here, and we reference figure 1 here. But let's say I was to insert, we'll just copy and paste this one down here. And right now it'll be figure 4, maybe it won't be figure 4 later on. So then what I can do is we'll create a caption, and we're going to call it figure, and because it's a figure, I'm going to go fig, and because it's in the introduction, I'm going to go int, and then 1. So figure fig int 1, no, we'll call it, I don't know. And then, in figure fig int 1, Greenberg has a sunset. It creates kind of a placeholder for where that goes. And then the last thing that I would do when I was reviewing a document, so this would be, when I was getting ready to turn it in, I'm doing my final read through, I would do a find and replace the order they appear. So here's figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, and then see we got to this one. It's the 4th figure that pops up. Highlight it, Control H, replace figure fig int 1 with a 4. And then go replace all, 2 replacements, replace the figure and that. So that's an easy way to do it. And you can do a similar thing with the sources or the tables. So, table add int 1 or whatever. And you do the same thing with references. So I would do, but it gets kind of lengthy, so I just do ref1. And then, you can have your references down here. So this would be ref1. And then you go through the document, see, okay, this is the first reference I make, so then you replace this with a 1. And then, there's a 1 there. And then you can cut these and, put them in the order. So it's 1, 2, 3 in the order they appear. So that's one way you can do it. It's pretty straightforward. It's not very technical, but it gets the job done pretty well. But then you just kind of have to live with them for a little while. Because you just put like placeholders in and then do find and replace is the basic method. Now the hard way, and the reason it's hard is because, again, the references tab doesn't treat more technical styles. You can add in styles. Somewhere there's an option for it. It's very technical. You have to know, I think, like XML code to be able to do it. I don't know how to do it. Here's another workaround for it. So we're going to start fresh. I'm going to add in a second source here. Call Greenberg, Sam, I don't know, dogs. In the Dog Gazette, it's a newspaper article, and it's probably like that. January 1st, in the year 3000, and the newspaper article was on how great dogs are. And actually, real fast, I'm just gonna, we'll add a third source in because why not? Copy and paste. Just change it. Dog website. Then you give so HTTPS. So this is just going to highlight something. www.dogs.world / whatever the link is. This shouldn't be italicized. Is that you want your sources to be hanging, and so what you see some people do is when a new line starts is tab down and then indent, then delete the tab. Again, this doesn't look very good and it's kind of janky. The better way you can do it is to highlight your sources and then go to home, paragraph, line spacing, then line spacing options. One of the options you'll have here in indentation is special, and you want to go hanging. 1/2 inch is pretty standard, and what this does is anything below the first line is going to be in 1/2 inch. So that's just a good way to do your sources out. So back to doing the references is, let's say I'm referencing the dog one here. Let's get rid of this one. What you're going to do is, let me delete this first, is we're going to put in, we're going to go to references, we're going to insert a caption, and then this is where we're going to make a new label titled reference. And so you see there's reference 1, but we don't want a title. We just want it to be reference 1. And let me see if we can delete a label, actually. Clean this up. There we go. Just for my own reference. We just want it to be a 1 because a general citation format will just be a superscript with a number. So exclude the label from the caption, and we're going to hit OK. And then we want this to look good. So we're going to go back to normal. But then we want this to be in our label format. So we're going to go to the references. So that's why we made that earlier. So again, this would just be what a normal reference looks like. It'd be 1 if that was the first source, and so on and so forth. So we have the 1 there. And then that would be correlating to the first source down here, which would be on sunsets. So what we're going to do here is, now that we have the caption, so the order is very important, so pay close attention. So you got to go to references, insert the caption first, which we've done. Then we're going to go down to the caption. And actually, I think we're referencing this one because we're talking about dogs' relation to sunsets. So even though these appear in a different order, you'll see the advantage of it pretty quickly. I'm going to put a space in, and then we're going to go insert links, so cross-reference. We can also get to this from the references, cross-reference, whatever your preference is. And we're going to do a cross-reference to our reference. So that was reference 1. And you can see that here. And we want just the label and the number. We're going to insert. And what you're going to notice is that it didn't just give us a number, even though that was what we gave it as a label. It gave us the entire previous line, which we don't want. And so this is where it gets hard, is you're going to hit the, let me get this out. You're going to hit the F9 key. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring up the table view. Alt F9, excuse me. And you see right here the reference we made, and if we go up here to our figures, so this one was done manually, see it stays the same. But this one where it's all references, you can see that this is kind of, and even in the page numbers, it's where it goes into its more technical form. And what we're going to do is, now that we have the figure up there and we have our reference down here, we're going to go back up to our figure that we're trying to or to our source, excuse me, which is right here, and you're going to highlight it. And then you're going to go to the Insert tab, over to Links, and hit Bookmark. I don't know why this is in the Reference tab, but you do have to go to the Insert to find it. So you're going to go to Bookmark, and we're going to insert a bookmark. I can't really tell you what bookmarks do. I know they're placeholders. I think the automatic thing that's going to come up is there's not going to be any hidden locations, and it's going to sort by name, should be the default. So make sure you put on hidden bookmarks and you sort by location. And whatever's highlighted is going to be what's selected. So don't change that. Then you're going to click Add. And it doesn't look any different, but you've added a bookmark there. It just doesn't really show up. So then we're going to go over back down to our reference where we referenced this before. And because we were referencing just the number, and now there's a bookmark there, it should auto update. So then you're going to hit Alt F9, take the reference back off. Ooh, let's see, it didn't go. / let's see if this fixes it. No, that didn't go. Let's try that one more time. I want to get rid of that label. So we'll try this order one more time. We'll do it a little faster. Make sure I didn't do it in the wrong order. So we're going to go again. Make sure we get the caption in. I'm going to delete the caption. So again, references, insert caption to the reference. Caption 1. Perfect. Make it look good. Give it a reference. Good. Reference it down here. So again, this references cross-reference to this one, label and number. And then you're going to highlight just the number here. Insert a link, a bookmark to that location. we're going to click add. So there's a bookmark in there. Control A and then F9. There it goes. So I don't know if I forgot to actually add the bookmark the first time, but there it is. See, there's our one. And so I'll walk through the process one more time, and we'll see how it automatically renumbers. But again, that's the process. So let's go back up to the sunsets part here. We have a reference in there for Greenberg. Let's get that out of there. We're going to reference the Sunset Journal. So again, to add the reference, we're going to do it as a caption. So insert a caption as a reference 1. See how it automatically goes to 1. Okay, there's our reference. Let's again make it look pretty and make it look like a caption. So you add the caption, then you have to insert the reference, and it's important you do it in that order, otherwise it throws it off. So you're going to insert, references, cross-reference the sunsets one. There we go. We have that in there. And then we're going to go back up and we're going to place we're going to place a bookmark over that reference. So insert links, bookmark. Don't touch anything, just leave location, hidden bookmarks. Make sure those are up. To add, there it is. We go back down, and then you're just going to hit Alt F9 to not Alt F9, just F9 to update. Control A, highlight the entire document, update it, and then update the entire table. And then there you go. You see there's the 1, there's the 2, and then let's say you see those updated down there. They also automatically update it. Whoops. Right there. So there's a 1, there's a 2. Showing figure 1. And then let's say, we're trying to let's say we got figure 1 from that third source I gave. So let's add this into the caption. Because if you're referencing a figure from somewhere else, make sure you always source it. So we're going to insert another reference. There we go. There's our reference. So again, just reference, insert caption. Again, we'll make it look like an actual label. There it is. And make this look like a caption. So now that that's set, we're going to reference that down here. So again, you can either go to the references and do that, or the insert cross-reference and do that to the figure of the doggo. And then we're going to replace, let's see, is that right? I didn't do that one right. Let me try that one more time. There we go. So we're going to go back up. And actually, I'll show you another quick trick you can do is if you go over to View and you go to Window, you can go Split. You see there's 2 different sections. So we'll keep one eye on the references and we'll go back up to the caption up here. So I referenced it here. Then what we're going to do is go over and to there. And we're going to insert a bookmark. So again, that's insert links bookmark. Just leave it alone, click add. And then Control A to highlight the entire document. And then F9 to update all the fields. Yeah, that didn't go. I thought something weird. You see the other one's updated, but we didn't get it here. So let's try that one more time. try unsplaying the window because it looks like it's not highlighting the whole thing. I wonder if maybe it's a problem with the figure itself. So let's try doing that reference outside of the figure. Maybe this doesn't work with figures or with section headers. Figure one from dog website. Yeah, there it goes. But maybe it doesn't work in a figure caption. Maybe something to keep an eye on. And then we can see, that was added before the other one, so that's now our first source. And that all you have to do, I don't want that. It's because it's justified, so you can left align it if you want to later on. We can just move this over. Hit Control K, keep the formatting, and then you can just renumber them as I go. So there's an easy way to reference them. I want to try one last thing though, because I want to get that figure caption to work. And I have one idea of how to do it. So we're going to insert another reference. So let's try this one more time, see if this works. So what I'm trying is we're going to add the reference back in there, and then I'm going to see if we can get it to show up as a number. So we'll just add another source down here. And we'll go back to insert cross-reference, doing that one. And then we replace this with a bookmark. Ooh, that doesn't look right. Oh, look at that. So what we are referencing here is a table of contents. That's going to be a TOC, so that's why it wasn't going. So what we're going to have to do is, this is given as a table of contents number. So I think what we might have to do is we're going to change this from our reference to a normal, then back to a reference. Because I think this was given, let's see if that fixed it. So we insert bookmark. And you can see right there, it's still referring to a table of contents number. So we don't want that. So we're going to have to delete this reference entirely. Because again, we made this as a figure, and that figure was linked to the heading. So we started out with the heading format and then made our figure label format. And so the figure label is automatically linked to the table of contents. So every time we were trying to call upon that, we were actually calling upon the figure 2 label in the table of contents. So let's try this one more time. So we're going to delete that source. We're going to insert another caption. But what I'm going to do is we're going to make this as a normal. So we got normal, and we're going to insert our, we're going to insert our caption. I want that to be 2. Let's make it look good. Now we're going to delete it, move it back up here. Oh, we don't want that as a figure caption though. Let's see if that's good. No, it still has a caption. We're going to caption that. Let's see if that fixed it. So let's insert a bookmark. No, we can't get it. So what you can do is you can hit Alt F9 to bring up the code. See, that's where it's referencing. Let's see what it looked like beforehand. Let me see if we can insert the bookmark down here. So let's reset real fast. So we're back here in the normal section. We're going to do our referencing. Let's make it a nice caption. Let's reference it down here. Let's go back up here, insert our bookmark. There you go. Now it's giving us a reference. We're going to add that in. Update the field. So that's, again, Control A, Alt F9. Oops, just F9. And there we go. Now you see a renumbering. So now we have 2 there as our source. Let's put that in the right order. Now here's the big question, is can we move that bookmark back into the figure caption and have it stay like that? So let's see if we move it back in. So there it is. Now let's hit Alt, let's watch it happen. So Control A, F9. Boom, still works. I have to fix the formatting. There it goes. It's all good. Let's make sure table of contents looks good. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. So just to recap that last process, just make sure you add it in underneath and then put it back in. So we'll do that one more time with referencing this one. So we're going to go down. We can do it real fast. Go normal. References, insert caption. This one's 4 as a reference. We can make it look good. Why not? And make it look like a reference. We're going to put in, I don't know. Keeps adding in the space here. So we'll call this a reference, why not? And then we're going to insert in our citation to it, our cross-reference. I think that was that one right there. Boom, boom. Oops, we added 2 of them. Make it look good. And then go up here to where it appears. Where does it appear? Right there. insert a bookmark to the reference. There we go. Looks good. We're going to Control A, F9, update everything. And then the only thing is that it looks like because we have the reference in as a, I actually have one idea on that before I say it's a problem. So let's get rid of those references. And let's get rid of this reference here. Because I think what we can do is that this is still just regular text. Let's put in a space, and then let's do our reference. I want to put in 2 spaces, a couple spaces. Then we'll put in our reference. Let's just keep one space. Insert, references, caption, do this. Let's make just this dot look good. Let's keep a space in front of it as a normal. Let's see, we got space in front of it now. And let's put a space after it. So we got spaces around it. It's a big thing I'm trying to emphasize. Cite this as a caption. And we got that. Go back up and we'll highlight just the caption, insert the bookmark, add, and then Control A, F9. And that fixed it. So what you can do to avoid the spacing here, so you can see the difference we did here, and then just to prove it works, we'll move this into the caption. Proof of concept. Boom, it stays that way. The difference in how we were creating these from the source 2 and the source, so this one right here and this one right here, is that we made this one, and we just did a paragraph underscore. So when we created the bookmark, it read the bookmark as having a paragraph underscore in front of it. Whereas with this one, there was no paragraph when we did it. So make sure just to add in, if you're doing another one, just a cut like a space before and a space after before you make the bookmark. And then we go to our table of contents. There it is, nicely cited. So, and this video is longer, a little longer than I intended, but we did get a lot through. So just to recap, I mean, we made, we did title pages, we did how to do a table of contents, how to number different sections, make figures and tables. We did how to do formatting for different sections. Oh, we didn't ever add a subsection in. So let's add in a section on dogs, and we'll make that as a subsection. So you can see what it looks like in the table of contents, and then we'll do a table on sunsets. And there we go. Then we'll update the whole document again. That's just Control A, F9. And you can see there's our subsections in the table of contents. Right there, you see page numbers are all good. There's the appendix in the back. Figures and tables. We did how to do figure formatting, including captioning, how to do subsections, how to do tables, and then how to, most importantly, how to number and cross-reference things. And then the hardest part was how to number sources. And we successfully did that. So then you again just rearrange these in the order they came in. Why do we have sunsets down here? Oh, because that was part of the caption up there. Okay, so you see that's dragged over from here. So that's where you can see there's where the bookmark is, right in here. So that's just a bookmarking issue. So that's why, again, just add the spaces in. So we covered a lot. You can watch it back, mark down timestamps, share with your friends, do whatever. Again, thank you for giving me your time. I hope this was helpful. I know this would certainly save me a lot of time had I seen it early on. Good luck, use it wisely, and have a little fun with it.